Okay, so this video is going to focus on finding the area of a rhombus. Our formula for finding the area of a rhombus is we can take the product of the two diagonals, which basically means we multiply the two diagonals together and we divide by 2. Now, a rhombus is also a parallelogram, so we can also do the base times the height if we have that information. Let's go ahead and take a look at an example here for this one. We know that in a rhombus, in this particular problem, it says find the area of a rhombus with a longer diagonal of 16 inches and a side length of 10. Okay, so we're given the longer diagonal, that's this diagonal here. They're telling us that each side is 10. We know in a rhombus, all 4 sides are the same length. So what we really need to find here is we need to find the other diagonal. The best way to do that, if you think about it, from our properties of a rhombus, we know that the diagonals are perpendicular to each other. So basically what we form in the rhombus is 4 right triangles, which if you think about this, the diagonals also bisect each other. So we know that if this diagonal is 16, that each of these two parts has to be 8. So now you can kind of see, hopefully, where I'm going with this. If we focus on this triangle here, again, we're trying to find this length here of this diagonal. I can do the Pythagorean theorem. So if I call this little smaller length x, what I can then do is I can say, well, x squared plus 8 squared is equal to 10 squared. And if we simplify that, x squared plus 64 equals 100. If we subtract 64, we end up with x squared equals 36. So that x value is going to end up being 6 after I take the square root of both sides. So in my picture, if from here to here is 6, we know that this half of the diagonal also has to be 6. So that tells me my other diagonal has a length of 12. So if I go to my rhombus formula for area, 12 times the other diagonal, which is 16, and I divide that by 2, that's going to be my area of my rhombus. So if I go ahead and do 12 times 16, that gives me 192, and so my area is 192 divided by 2. So if I take 192 and I divide it by 2, that gives me an area of 96 square inches. And there is my area for my rhombus. Again, diagonal 1, which the long one is 16, and the other one ends up being 12. So 12 times 16 divided by 2, 192 divided by 2 gives me 96 square inches for my area of my rhombus.